Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Sunbros casted tournament game. This is game two of Tio versus Vindian. Tio is going to be spawning on the south side of. Is this Darfur? What map is this?
As
This is
yep.
Darfur in the color red. He is going to be playing the Sweden civilization. And on the other side, we have Vindian playing Hausa in the color yellow. Platt, let me hear your thoughts on these two civs real quick.
Well, these are definitely each player's favorite civ. Vindian is a longtime Hausa main. Tio is a passionate Swedish main. Both these players are very well versed. For the actual matchup, it's going to be a bit tricky. Both these civs kind of pop off. They are vulnerable to rushes, and yet they have very powerful units. I would say the big difference is that Sweden tends to have less units, but each unit's very powerful. You know, the Carolian, the leather cannon, even their hussars and hackapelts can be upgraded pretty significantly. Um, Vindian's Hausa has a wide range of options, and thanks to the influence system, if they get enough TPs, they can boom and probably keep up, dare I say, with the Swedish Tort boom. So interesting. You know, these are two civs that are a bit slow and can become absolutely oppressive if they get the ball rolling with two players that absolutely love to sit back and boom. So uh, it's going to be an interesting matchup again, I hope.
You know, these are both these players' main civilizations. Tio on match point in this best of three, looking to put the game away as Sweden. And for the first time in this entire tournament, we're seeing Hausa, which is Vindian's main, which is a little bit surprising. But obviously, Vindian not wanting to get eliminated out of this tournament. So he's going to do his best. And like you said, uh, once Hausa gets rolling, you know, they can send um, trade post builders and they really can do a good job of, you know, using and I would almost even say abusing the influence system to their advantage because influence gathers so fast in this game. It's one of the things that I have a gripe with personally. You know, I played Ethiopia for a little bit, but I do have a gripe with the influence system and how fast it gathers.
Yeah, you know, something that it was clearly not designed to be a mainline unit, but I mean, they can easily get up to 1,000 influence assists a minute if they're on a right map. And Darfur, as an African map, has plenty of trade posts, both natives and trade routes. So if he's able to cover these, you know, that's what I mean is he's going to have a more powerful eco than Sweden in essence with more options because all of those influence units they can be there's a card that makes them cheaper and cost a little bit of coin instead. And you know, there's just no other way to put it. When Hausa starts rolling, it's arguably the strongest civ in the entire game. And they recently did get nerfed though, so that death ball is just a bit slower to take off.
You know, and we can see Vindian has taken all four of the native trade posts, and I expect to see some regular trade posts up very soon. Uh, Aging up with Hausa, so with himself, at the right about the 3:03 minute mark, and just still scouting around the base. We're going to hop over to Tio's perspective. You know, and as Sweden, it's so crucial to find all the coin mines nearby so that you can send your villagers over and make sure that you can get the if you're going to tort boom that you can tort boom without having to search around and idle a
Exactly.
villager for longer than necessary.
You know, something. Can we take a look at their decks really fast and just see if uh, there's the Fusiliers. So one of Tio's signature moves, and it's a very popular one, but boy does Tio make it look good. It's the three Fusilier pop. Three of these guys will one shot a Vil, one shot to two shot heavy cavalry, and just basically run around with speed five faster than any other infantry at that era, for the most part. Um, there's no other way to put it. These guys are a terror, and Tio's done excellent job throughout this tournament of using that to knock his opponent off balance. So I'm curious to see what Vindian does against the dreaded Fusilier raid.
Yeah, and Sweden gets them at a discount. They cost 360 coin instead of the usual 400. And yeah, these Fusiliers are really deadly if used right. And Tio has become kind of infamous at using the Fusiliers. His Sweden build orders are extremely tight. We're gonna take a look at H3 is the deck name from Vindian. Uh, Emirs, Kingslayer in here, both influence cards. Sahelian Kingdoms. What are you seeing out of this, Plat?
Well, I'm not super well versed in Hausa, but I'm seeing what Vindian loves: influence, flexibility, and a little bit of H2 play that kind of shifts into a longer term H3 and even H4 if he needs to. Um, this could be very interesting. A lot of it's going to depend on Tio's ability to knock that tempo off, especially now with Hausa having soon to be, it looks like, 2 trade posts.
Has officially taken both of these trade posts,
Wow.
probably, yeah. Uh, Paying 100 wood and 100 food using the new mechanics for them and slapping this palace right down in range of this trading post here. We're going to turn Fog of War off, see if we can find these
Oh,
Fusiliers as they walk right by the Raiders. That could have
oh,
been
he's on the
devastating.
wheels with the
But he
Fusiliers.
is on the Fusiliers, going to pop one off.
Oh, here comes another one. Nope.
It's nope. It's
Good
gonna
catch.
stay in the town center. Go back in the town center, and it's really important for Tio here to keep these Fusiliers alive because the minute that one dies, your entire villager, your entire ability to kill villagers is gone. There's nothing. Your raid is dead when you lose one Fusilier. So very important for Tio to keep these alive, and he's just keeping them in the back of the base, trying his best to hide them from Vindian, even though they are out of his line of sight as of right now.
Go again. Now, what's Vindian doing? Are those raiders going anywhere, or do they just probably loop around?
That is a good question. I went to go find them. They are sieging a Torp here. They've got it back down to about half health. But
Oh, here goes
Vindian's
a Vil.
going to lose 2 more Vils. 3 Vils going down. 4 Vils going down.
Oh.
This Torp is just not worth 4 Vils. And Tio escapes again with
Something
all
to think
3.
about with Vindian is, again, his economy is mainly influenced, maybe not mainly, but supplemented through influence. He has 3 trade posts and 2 native posts, and all of those are trickling in experience and they're trickling in influence, and this might just blow up at any second in the favor of Hausa. As good as that raid is, any other civ would probably be dead in the water. But this is Hausa, and Hausa's eco is influential, I guess, in the game's outcome.
I see what you did there, Platt.
That's as good as it gets, unfortunately, for me.
He's on 13 Vils right now, which is a little bit low for 7.5 minutes into the game. But the influence is just trickling in for free. There's my Gotti coming in. Musk unit coming in for Vindian. We'll take a look at Tio, who's got a unit shipment in the deck, has sent Dominions and Ironworks, so he is fully Torp booming. And in trying to siege down this trading post, which Vindian does not look like he's going to contest at all. Let's see here. The Fusiliers are going to be taking out this treasure, 90 food treasure. That's basically a free Vil for Sweden.
Going on the
As
upper
we
right.
see some raids going in, that is a Vil that was building a Torp. Vindian seems to be doing a very good job with these Maigadi and his just raiding units.
Here we go. Maigadi versus. Oh, there goes one.
And there
Ooh.
goes one Fusilier, and this Maigadi barely lost half of his health, and there's the other Fusiliers.
There's the other one. Yeah, and just like that, I mean, one of these guys is not the force multiplier than it is with 3, and so now Tio's got to figure out, yeah, you did a killer raid, and again, normal civs would be reeling from losing, what was that, 5, 6 villagers this
Yeah,
early in the game.
he got, I think, 5 vills from all those raids. He's got a forward outpost. I think he aged up. We didn't check to see what he aged up with, but it looks like that's an age up with the governor. Knowing Tio and his penchant for Fusilier raiding, that was a governor raid. As we see these Carolians going to try and
Are those
uh,
Fulani?
defend. These are Fulani archers, so they're going to be able to counter these Carolians. Tio really wants to take control of this coin mine, 5,000 coin just hanging out. And these Fulani archers just, I guess he's only got 2 of them now. Make that 5, but at the cost of 5 my Gotti, are they going to be able to take out the rest of this Carolian mass? It certainly looks like they're going to be able to.
And there it is, the best firing animation for an archer in the game at work. Smooth as butter. And yep, those
Right at the
Carolians.
beginning of the animation. That's beautiful. All the Carolians are dead. Explorer is going to be follow shortly behind. Vindian's got a massive score lead. Like you said, Platt, he's now taken all three trading posts and 2 of his safe native alliances. We'll hop over to his perspective real quick, and he's gathering 169 influence a minute on top of all of his other resources.
Did he send Berbervilles? Does he have that in the deck?
He did.
Berbers? Oh, Lord.
Burmer Nomad Villager for each trading post and town center you control. I remember seeing that card coming in. I don't remember how many he had. I think he probably got at least 4 vills or nomads from that
6.
pop.
Because 1 from the town center and then 5 for the trade post, both native and from the trade line. And each one of those villas is like a special CDB. Like imagine France with a 6 CDB pop, and that's what we just saw. And that's why it's so important against Hausa to not give them map control. Because again, you set it in the raid, you crippled it, but now he is just taken off. And Sweden might be able to catch up if it can torp, but he's got to figure out a way to get those torps out and then buy time for them to pay off.
Vindian doing a very good job of eliminating Tio's ability. As we'll take a look at their line of sight here. There's another what is this? Palace? This is a palace. Another palace going up. And, Vindian's got just about, I'd say he's got just about half of the map under line of sight. No one's going to be able to sneak by this little passage without being seen. As we see leather cannons coming in to try and fight off these raiders. Tio really wants this gold mine, because if he doesn't get this gold mine, there's only a few coin mines left. This silver mine, you're maybe going to get maybe 2 more torps on. You can fit 3 more on that. And then there's this coin mine in the back, and that's really the only safe torps that you have, or torp locations that you have in base.
Correct. And again, these are 2 civs that can take off, and right now Vindian's at full throttle, and Tio still, he's struggling to get going. He's got a bigger army, but then what do you push into? You've got forts all over the place in age 2. It looks like he's going to age up and then perhaps try to leverage a better unit comp against Hausa. But Hausa, if they get to age 3 close behind this, it's going to be rough, because the Hausa stuff in age 3, they get Lafiti, they get the griots, and their influence options at the forts become even more varied and powerful.
The exiled prince coming in with blueberries. Let's see if we can find a berry bush. This is on the first torp, pardon me. Anyways, let's get back to the action. Very good timing for blueberries. It just further, that 200 extra coin or 200 extra food gathering fast is going to be huge. Tio on 14 torps right now, so actually not doing too bad despite being kind of locked out of res. I mean, these torps are still here. He's got this light gun carriages card, so he can get age 4 stat leather cannons right now. Who do you think has the advantage here? Tio.
This is something that I am thinking about, and it could just be me, but honestly, why use the exiled prince if you don't have a shipment ready? I mean, you could have by now aged anyways. You're not in the middle of a fight or about to pop a fight, and you could have gotten either some res or some units out of it. I think not having a trade post and being behind the shipment curve is kind of hurtful, and I don't think exiled prince was the right call in this one. But again, minor things that may or may not make a difference, but just something for people to think about. If you really want to leverage that fast fortress, you want to send a shipment, boom, the second you hit it, which it looks like Vindian is about to do.
And to your point, aging with Moroccans and has a shipment ready and waiting, and that is definitely something that to think about. The Sweden, one of the Sweden age 3 age ups is 2 leather cannons. So you could have 4 leather cannons and then immediately wrong deck, and immediately upgrade them to infantry guns and have leather, 4 age 4 leather cannons as soon as you hit age 3, or you got that 2 Falk shipment, and you can have 2 Falks and 4 leather cannons.
Something though that he's doing really right though is he has the air Berbers, or the nomads or whatever they're called, the African CDB he's producing because he took those 2 natives. So he is going to have a little bit of a equitable eco behind this compared to Vindian.
The Vindian mass is growing, and he's using his shipment that he had available to him for age 3 to send falconets. And this force is looking pretty formidable for Vindian. He still lost those two torps. Cheeky little 500, or sorry, is that 500? 400 wood gone. That's not right. How much does a silver mine have on it?
A silver mine?
Yeah.
Typically, I think 2,000 or 3,000. Pro casting right here.
Yeah, we are pro casters. No mistakes, no flaws in our gameplay knowledge at all. Regardless, that's a cheeky couple hundred coins that Tio stole that Vindian will be unable to get back.
I wonder what Vindian's plan from here is. Can we see if is he building cannons? Because
he's shipping Junkawa. Look, that is back-to-back shipments pretty much. 5 villagers and 5 griots coming in.
There's the Falk push.
4 falconets. He's going to be pushing this gold mine with, it's got those 5 torps on it. And what's Tio's response here? Looks like he's sent his 2 falcons himself. He's got 2 leather cannons. And some Berber camel riders. So each player taking 2 native posts. These Berber camel riders. What is he using these for? Platt, what is your take on this?
Deal with javelin riders because they're like melee goons, and so it gets around a lot of the resist that the javelin riders have. So it's actually a pretty good play. But the real question is with all those falcons, how are they? What about the Carolians? You've got javelin riders, which are kind of like Reuters. They can actually, in a mass, start doing damage to musketeer type units quite well. You're outnumbered in artillery from a supposedly native civ. And once the griots come out with their upgrades, half your army is going to be twiddling their thumbs every few seconds. So this is a tough, man. When Hausa gets rolling, even a civ like Sweden might struggle with it. But those we've got Jaegers coming in. So again, Tiles, he's got some tricks up his sleeves too. So we might see one hell of a fight here.
Carolians are very good in melee against artillery if they can get in range. I personally have destroyed 5 falconets with only about 22 charging Carolians. Because once they get close, that's it. But the problem is you have to get close. That Jaeger pop's going to come in now, and I think Vindian learned his lesson from game 1 and kept his falconets very far from the engagement. Tio moves his force away from these 5 so he's going to get down to now. He's got 3 torps left, 13 torps at 17 minutes into the game. So, Tio's struggling a little bit. He's going to do his best to try and counter this mass, but you've got Raiders, you've got Maigadi.
Here come the Hackapelts.
He's got Fulani Archers. This is like a 4-unit comp that you're seeing from Vindian.
Right,
and the Griots are going to be coming in, I'm assuming, very soon.
Yep, there they are. Did you see that little aura popped on everyone? That's the Griots.
There they are, all 5, I'm assuming. He's got 8 Griots at this point. So they're going to be stun locking the entire army from Tio. And that's just a devastating combination with 4 units on top of Griot's plat.
For those when we say stun locking, they literally have the rate of fire of all units within 26, so the same range as a cannon. Everything inside of it that's an opponent, it gets a halved attack speed. It is absolutely devastating and probably one of the most powerful tools Hausa has, because there's no counter to it other than, ironically, cannons. So if he's able to get those leathers on top of the Griots, get them down fast enough, the effectiveness of this army will come off. And something else I want to mention really fast, I must admit, for this game, even though it's kind of an older game, how cool the cavalry look running around kicking up dust, from the Hausa ones. Really does give you some like Lawrence of Arabia vibes, even though Hausa are geographically much different area.
In a little bit of a sidebar, I do think the dev team has done a fantastic job with the definitive edition of this game. And there's the Griot Horn. These 8 Griots you'll see the little stun icon pop up on these Carolians or whatever units they're targeting. We're getting a little bit of a lag here, but that's some good timing from the leather cannons. These falconets going to go down to the Haka pellets. These Griots are actually doing a lot less than we expected. This fight seems to be going completely in the Sweden player's favor here.
But yet, other than the cannons, he's lost that Carolian mass, and that is an expensive mass. Again, Hausa, a lot of their units, other than the influence ones, are pretty cheap. And they're exhausting each other, but at the end of the day, who sent the mercs, who used the cannons with the gold and map resources that run out, versus who's got the influence button. So it's a wipe for Vindian, but his score is still higher for a reason.
Yeah, you just look back over here and you zoom out as far as you can. You've got 2 more Falcons popping from this palace. You've got universities here in range of these 2. You've still got 2 trade posts, which have not been upgraded yet. But you've got the 2 trade posts. You've got the 4th resource gathering at 371 units a minute. And that's a pop of Lafitte Knights. It's looking worse for Pete. These Lafitte Knights are going to tank pretty much anything that you throw at them. And Jaegers, I don't think you want the Jaegers in this engagement at all.
No, but they might not have a choice, because those Lafitte are pretty fast, and the cannons are going down, and this is about to get really ugly for Tio. He might be better off turning around and fighting. I don't think you're able to run from this. Did he have some sort of merc reinforcement? Yeah, just 5 Hackapellets.
He's got some Hackapellets, and these falconets are completely bought with influence. So it's just essentially free resources gathered by the Hausa player, and as the Sweden player has now sent light gun carriages and lost all his leather cannons. And these Jaegers are just going to be snared and go down to the Lafitte Knight. And actually, these are Raiders. Pardon me, but the Lafitte Knight are coming in behind. More leather cannons. Is he trying to pull trick? But he's going to lose these leather cannons just because these Lafitte Knights are so fast. 6.25 speed.
They're tanky. They got a lot of HP. They recently got switched to do more damage but have less HP. But I mean, again, this is rough. I think TO needs to kind of remass, but Sweden takes a little bit to remass. It's a bit expensive, and the Hausa is knocking at the door. They've got the artillery, they've got the full boom off the influence going. He still hasn't lost any map control, and TO's got to figure out a way to delay this push long enough for him to remass, because if not, it's probably going to be the GG.
Finally getting the team infantry, heavy infantry hit points, but he's only got 6 Carolians that are benefiting from this, and they're just going to be eaten up by the mass here as these Falconets are going to be sieging down the town center. Berber camel riders just aren't tanky enough to deal with, these javelin riders. Falcons are going to go down. Minutemen pop.
Still might be too little too late, though. I mean, you don't have a mass, and with every second, Vindian's able to stream reinforcements in. He's killing the torps. He's taking back map control. You're getting pushed back, and Hausa is still untouched. And this is a tough spot. TO's played a really good game, and credit to Vindian. He's played a very clean game. He's played to his Civ's strengths this entire game, and it's starting to pay off, if it hasn't already.
Hausa finally sieging down this outpost in the front to just remove a little bit of map control that he didn't really even have anymore. And there's nothing TO can do about this. We look at his unit comp. It's 10 Carolians, 2 Falconets, and just a handful of Jaegers and Hackapellets. Let's see, let's add up 14. So about 2,000 resources a minute from TO here, and between 860, 13, 15, and, surprisingly, actually, it appears...
But, again...
as if they're fairly
TO
even in resources.
It's on a timer. His torps, they're limited because they take natural resources. Once the coins are gone, or the mines are gone, he's got nothing. Where Hausa, them buildings, they keep influencing. So
Influence.
This is starting to go in the late game, and it might get ugly for Sweden because their torp boom is not forever, and influence is. So
Influence is love. Influence is life.
Right.
And TO again gonna lose 4 more torps up here, and this coin mine has been completely taken over by Vindian, doing a very good job of suffocating TO out of the entire map. You've got all these hunts here that you can't access anymore, not even aware that the town center is there. More Falcs coming in for Vindian as we take a look over at his line of sight, and you can see he's creeping further and further up, choking TO out of resources. And at this point, you're getting to the mass where you can just kind of right-click the base. You're up 5k in score. You've got all this influence. He's sitting on 800 influence plus right now, and that is going up, nearly 400 res per minute. That's almost a Falconet a minute, is it not?
True, but something again to think about. The score is not that far apart. When you're in the leading position like this, the last thing you want to do is throw, and so it can be kind of frustrating for people to watch. But you got to understand, like, from this point on, Vindian's going to probably play very conservatively because it's his game to lose. And once your game to lose, you're cautious, you keep your army together, you move slowly, you boom, you just take your time, because you're not the one on the timer, right? Or as you can see, TO is. So I'm really going to be looking to 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 see if he could force a fight and get Vindian to kind of make a mistake, because once he does, he gets back in this game. If he doesn't, I think Vindian might be too far ahead, even though that score is close. It's, again, Sweden's on a timer, Hausa is not.
And one important thing to note, in this situation, TO does not have the coin mine cards in his deck. So that is one of the things to consider for Sweden to put in your deck, because when you're choked out of resources like this and your torps are about to run out of coin mines, or the coin mines are about to run out, you can send those coin mines, and they're only copper mines. They don't have a ton of coin, but they can extend your torp boom just that little
bit. This might
bit.
be the final fight. I mean, the Corollians are getting just shredded at this point. You need to somehow get to 4 where it gets to be a lifeguard. Because the longer you go in age 3, the slimmer the chances are for you to come back. And I mean, Teal's doing a good job. He's pushing him back, but again, Vindian's just taking his time. He's got the mass, he's got the eco, he's got the map control. Oh well, he's got 2 falconets out of position.
In classic Vindy form, it certainly seems to appear, at least in this round. Falconets out of position, go down. Again, the mass of Vindy is... There's nothing Tio can do about this right now. He's going to have to sacrifice those Falcs. Sitting on a shipment right now, there's 10 Corollian pop coming in. I mean, you might want to think about sending Snaplock or Platoon Fire to help deal with, these heavy cav. But like you said, there is just it's a suffocating force, and all Vindian has to do is not throw the game and boom away and maintain a score lead. That's brutal.
And the Vuvuzelas of Doom.
The Vuvuzelas of Doom. 10 griots. And it's just so suffocating.
So I think the GG might be called here soon. Unless Tio's got a way to get to age 4, I don't see him being able to come back from this at this point. The score lead's now pretty considerable. His last of his torps, or not the last, but his front torps are being sieged down.
They're in front of the TC. 14 idle villagers now. That is I believe, a pop of Jaegers.
No, he built them off his bears.
Did he? So he did train those. That probably the right call. I was going to say, with that coin, you could have aged to 4 and then sent Svea Lifeguard. But with the mass of, this whole mass in your base, sacrificing, putting pressure on you, I think probably you want units there. But Tio's win condition is slowly slipping away from him for sure.
Yeah, he's got to get to age 4, get the factories, so his eco's able to catch up again and get those Uber Corollians, fully upgraded. But again, against the Griot, I mean, you still might not be able to get much work done because the Griot silences everything. This is tough. It's a tough spot. Like I said, Hausa is considered one of the top tier civs in the game currently, and I think we're seeing why when it's allowed to boom. It has been nerfed a bit. It's been weakened. You can deal with the early game a bit better, and you can stop this from happening, but the Hausa train has no brakes.
As we see a very bold play from Tio here, building some torps right on top of this gold mine. He says, you may have this coin mine, you may be gathering from it, but I can gather from it too. Unfortunately for him, the town center is here, the Falcs are here, and just the amount of map control that Vindian has is... These are obviously going to go down immediately, and I think you're really seeing the pain of not having that 3 coin mine card in the deck. He's on 16 torps. He's got 1 estate up already. Does he have a second one? He does. A second, 3 estates going up, and it's just really not good when Sweden goes on estates. That is not something that you want to see until you hit age 4 at least.
Well, he's trapped in age 3, and I don't see a way out of this for him. He's going to have to, like I said, take a good fight, ease off on the unit production, and this is something that happens to all of us. You lose a bad fight, and you're not able to tech up, and that just grinds you down. It's like trying to fight the Riptide, man. No matter how hard you struggle against it, you keep going right back to the same spot. And so, at the same time, Tio's a resilient player, but as this score starts to slip ahead, I think he's one bad fight away from just calling it. The
mass of units continues to grow. We have 10 full griots, 2 more falconets coming in, 4 Vindian, third falconet coming in.
So yeah, shipping.
He is shipping Suya skewers. So he's still confident in his ability to gather from natural resources as nope, no engagement yet. Vindian does see the mass, but he's going to be waiting for these falconets to show up. 628 influence per minute coming in now, on top of 61 vills to 52 for TO and 15 torps, pretty much none of which are on coin anymore.
I think this is the big fight. Nice walling, by the way, to TO.
He does have this wall. Is finally getting a second town center up, but this is definitely going to be too little too late.
His villagers get pulled, or was his explorer building it and now he forgot?
That's probably the case. His explorer was building it and then did a move all military, and just forgot to macro his explorer back in. Teo's just content to let this siege happen. He sees the entire mass. That was a weird falconet bug.
Small indie game company, Microsoft, so, you know.
Microsoft.
In all seriousness, it's a almost 20-year-old game at this point with the original code. Bugs do happen. Out of all the bugs we see, you know, moonwalking falconets or dancing. I guess that would be
that's
tango falconets. It's low on the list of grievances, I think. All right, this town center's almost out. At this point, it's do or die. Your units are just gonna, you know, YOLO into it one at a time anyways, because unit AI is what it is, so let's go. You know, this is the fight. Oh, he's got a flank of the Berbers.
There are too many Falcons to deal with. These Carolians are gonna, you know, these Desert Archers are gonna siege down all these Carolians. The Griots are gonna make all the Carolians and Jaegers go down to 6 attack speed instead of 3. You know, you've got these Age 4 infantry guns, but even they're not.
There's the
and there it is. The Griots overpowered, and the power of Hausa just choking you out of all the resources on the map. Vindian 3 town centers. He's up to 65 vills to 52, and yeah, I mean, well played on Vindian's part, for sure.
You know, Vindian is a Hausa main. I think that showed there in his comfort. You know, something to think about. These are 2 civs that they want map control and they want to starve the opponent out or just delay before they kick off. And I think Vindian was able to kick off a little bit harder. And then once he took the lead, there's almost no coming back. You know, we got to see kind of 2 similar civs in that aspect face off, and we got to see how just the smallest advantages at the beginning, Vindian's initial fights that he won, just started to snowball out of control into what looked like a very commanding lead. That, you know, both these players had good fights. They both went back and forth. I mean, they marched up and down that map how many times? You know, but in the end, the initial fight, Vindian won. He was able to capitalize on more.
We'll take a look at the post game here. Pretty even in villagers throughout. There's the initial Fusilier raid from 17 down to 12, so getting 5 villagers, really setting Hausa back.
Almost a third of his villagers killed. Only Hausa can you lose a third of your villagers before 7 minutes and still keep on trucking.
We'll pop over to military unit count. A big battle here, which was won by TO, but TO unable to get the mass back quite as fast. As we take a look at all resources gathered, and Hausa in the lead, you know, 62 to 54, 8K, and I think the difference here, if we go over to influence, any guesses, Platt, how much influence he gathered over the course of this game?
15,000 maybe.
All right.
Oh, God, it was close.
16,504 14. And that's like you said, like we said over the course of this entire game, that's free resources that all you have to do is really take map control for. He's got the towers up, he's got forts all over the map. His hunts are relatively safe because he's got these granaries, and the Hausa train had left the station and there was no stopping it.
Exactly. I think the lesson from this game is, really against either of these civs. We kind of got to see how to contain Sweden. These are civs that they want to take map control. They're not the fastest civs. So if you play an aggressive civ like Aztecs, Haudenosaunee, Russia, even Spain, right, and just try to take them out and keep that map control, you're going to look very commanding. If not, and again, look at how much. Can we go to the military tab really fast?
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. Both of them killed pretty well into each other, and yet this was a competitive game probably till the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Military units roughly the same, killed, give or take. And then, the power of the griots at the end, I think, and just the ability to slow down, and then, yeah, the influence. It was a combination of factors that led to Sweden just being unable to leverage what Sweden does best. Well played to
Correct.
Vindian. He is now locked out of playing Hausa for the final game. Tio still has his main Sweden. We will see you in the next one. If you got to this point in the video, I really appreciate a like and subscribe to the channel. There is a Discord link down below in the description so you can join our server and participate in the next tournament if you feel so inclined. Again, thank you for watching. We will see you in the next one.
Later, guys.